Okay, so let's review some of the information in regards to the copyright basics. So again, definition of copyright: permanently fixed work that can be seen or heard. Only the copyright owner can use the work or those for whom the copyright owner has given permission. What can be copyrighted? So we're looking at books, plays, films and movies, and then dance. And then, music. Forgot music. And then the duration, in the case of an author, lifetime plus 70 years, and with a company, 100 years. So that was the black and white issues that we talked about before. So facts about fair use. So these are the items that I've culled from looking at the video that you guys just watched. There are limits to blank. A small bit can be used for, and then we've got 4 things here. 3 conditions to consider towards whether something is fair use. And then fair use is not a blank. It is a blank, blank, blank. So the first one is there are limits to copyright. So fair use is a very, very narrow sliver that's, one way to work around copyright, but it's extremely narrow and certainly more narrow than most people assume. So a small bit of a piece of media can be used for teaching, news reporting, parody, or critical comment. So the very first test in whether something is fair use or not is whether it's used as part of a teaching assignment, news reporting, parody, critical comment. So 3 conditions to consider towards whether something is fair use. So the first thing is the nature. So that's the items above. When first considering whether or not something is being used in a fair use fashion, the first question is whether it is being used for teaching, news reporting, parody, or critical comment. If it is not one of these 4 items, then it is by no means fair use. So you automatically take that out of the equation. If it's one of these 4, so that's the first test. The second test is the amount, an unassigned percentage. All the Constitution really says is a small amount. So obviously less than the whole. So in the case of, if it's teaching, great, but it's a small amount. So it's one of these sorts of things where you can't show a whole movie and say that you're using it in a fair use fashion, because again, it's a small use, a small example, small bit that's used in the pursuit of in this case, teaching. It's an unassigned percentage. So this is where the difference between what is legal and then versus what we would call policy. Most people, this is where you hear of the 7-second rule, 30-second rule, this sort of, blah, blah, you can use this, people are uncomfortable with the idea of unassigned percentage, but that's how it's spelled out. So you have to just recognize that it obviously cannot be the whole. If you are engaged in teaching and you want to use a whole book, then you have to get the rights to the book or purchase the book or, that sort of thing. You can't use fair use if you want to use the whole thing. It's an unassigned percentage. And then the last one is the commercial effect. And this is kind of the piracy thing is that, however, if you're going to use something for fair use, it can't be used in such a way where it basically eliminates the market for the original. So if there is, let's say, a movie, you can't say in the name of fair use, you are basically duplicating the movie or replacing the movie with your version, because that's not fair use. That's, in most cases, that's actually piracy. Now, where the line is actually kind of interesting is that, let's say in a case of news reporting, you talk about a movie that's been released and you show some clips and then you say this movie is horrible. Well, you've done the first 2, and then the question is, with regards to your review of the movie as being horrible, will probably have a commercial effect, but you're not in fact replacing one with the other. You're just doing the job of news reporting. And so that's where, you have to be very, very careful about these sorts of things, and where it's a little bit slippery. And the idea, obviously, is that it's a very narrow definition of fair use. And then the last one was fair use is not a right, so you can't claim fair use in advance. It is a legal defensible position, meaning that you can't claim fair use. Basically, once you have been brought into a legal entanglement and you are standing in front of the judge or you are making a counterclaim, that's when you can say that your usage of this piece of media was protected by the fair use clause. You can't claim it in advance. You have to wait until it's, somebody has made a claim against you, and then you can claim fair use. So what I would like you to do right now is let's go ahead and look at these next 3 videos: fair use and free speech in documentary films, remix culture, fair use is your friend, and eyes on the fair use prize. And we'll catch you on the other side.